This is a workshop focused on the certification and evaluation processes in different geoparks. Of course, there are different experiences from geoparks who are members of GGN and of national geoparks, which is case of Czech and Slovak, most of Czech and Slovak geoparks. We can really organize it as a workshop that each of you can tell us or tell to everybody your experience and also some pitfalls of this process. Each of us is having some experience with that. So I've prepared some simple simple overview of what all of you know, because at least in Czech Republic, we in fact copy the system which is used in the global network, that there is few steps towards a sustainable geopark. This is first step is evaluation of geological potential, and we can then there is a status of a candidate geopark with 2 mentors for several years. I don't know if it is 5 years in every networks. Then there is certification process and then repeated revalidation. So within this framework, we are now moving. And we can maybe talk about the evaluation of geological potential first, because this is the first step where every area which intend to apply for the status of geopark is first heading.
Just I interrupt Veronica. As I understood yesterday, and maybe you can precise from the Polish side, but you have also the level of national geoparks. This is something new for me, so maybe you should tell just a few sentences about it, if I'm right or not, if I understood right or wrong. In this case, we have 3 geoparks, three countries from 4, which have national level of geoparks and pretty similar system of evaluation on the national level. But what Veronica explained, I would say that this is unique for Czech Republic, that we have one stage more, because before evaluation of a new aspiring geopark, we check the potential of the geopark. We are speaking just about geoscientific, or we call it more geotouristic, like combination of geology and touristic potential. This stage is just to, let's say, prevent some expenditures and time devoted to the geopark preparation, because as you know, normal the process is nearly 10 years to prepare a really good functioning geopark. And in the case, if we see quite clearly that this geopark has no potential regarding geology or geotouristic potential, we stop them to do it, because in the case that after 10 years of work, we tell them that it is no sense in this place to prepare a kind of geopark. It's too late for us. So this is something what we have probably unique. If not, please explain how it is in your case. So maybe we can start with the Polish side, because in this case we are not totally sure about your national level of the geopark. Because I noticed from presentation yesterday that you have something like this. So please.
So is there any colleague?
Good morning, everyone. In Poland now, Polish Geological Institute, we are preparing the documents, but as you saw in the presentation, in 2010, and 2009, the 3 geoparks, the Ministry of Environment, he gave a certificate of national geoparks, but it wasn't any evaluation before. It was only a kind of paper only, a certificate that this area is a geopark and nothing else, any validation, etc. And now we are preparing the documents that we are going to establish Polish committee to the geoparks, and we are preparing documents, and there will be information, uh, the tutorial also, how to be a national geopark. It is more or less similar to the UNESCO Global Geopark evaluation, but it is not so restricted because it is the national level. It is not the UNESCO level. Also, most of you know Jacek Koźma because he started to prepare these documents, but he went retire. So my friend from the institute is the leader, Miss Katarzyna Szatkowska. We will help you. We help her because also my person, because I have experience with the UNESCO Global Geoparks. I think it will be more or less similar to the UNESCO, but as I told you, um, not so restricted, especially in the networking, because networking in the international area, it is the most important in UNESCO Global Geoparks. And what else? Also, there will be two evaluators, the evaluation every 4 years. But if the area will be UNESCO Global Geopark, we won't reevaluate this area as a national geopark. Is it UNESCO? It is also national. So uh, I think that that's all.
Vitek, thank you for this information because this is really important. Because now we are in situation that majority of countries, three from four, have this national level and a pretty similar system because all we have something which is nearly the same like in the UNESCO level, but not so strict. So we can work with this. So we can ask then Hungary, probably they don't feel for the future, as I understood, to prepare the national level. But in your case, I noticed that you have now 4 national geoparks, one of them Karkonosze, which is something also important because long time in Czech Republic exists a kind of interest to prepare in Krkonoše the national geopark as well. I was called to national park body on the meeting. We explain everything, how it is working. And for them, it was so difficult task. They given up actually that it is up to municipalities in the region to prepare something like this with cooperation with somebody from National Park Karkonosze. So this is maybe something for the future also to communicate.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, but in Poland, Karkonosze has this certificate, and I believe it won't be a problem for them to be with this new documentation to be still national geopark. But there is one area that it could be a problem because they have in 2010 this certificate, but for me they aren't in a, also in the national level. They have to grow up the border because they are too small. But we will, I believe, help them to be still the national geopark because it is good to promote this region. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And maybe Barnabas, if you can express something about Hungary, if you have totally no intention like this.
Thank you. There is a document about the criteria for preparing a national geopark in Hungary, but it was not, it hasn't been accepted until now, but it's ready for approval, as I know. and I'm just searching my computer, but unfortunately I don't have it. But it's in Hungarian, so that doesn't matter. But the document is existing and waiting for approval, as I know. But I'm not the president of the committee.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you very
you.
much.
So in this way, this is not so totally, let's say, it is on the way. So it is not in the situation as we saw it with Veronica, that there is just Czech and Slovak, but visibly we can speak about all the Visegrad group, and we will see what happens in Hungary. So in the, yeah, I just finished in the Poland, Polish presidency, we can also discuss the Hungarian side.
Yes, I would like to add a few words considering the Polish committee for geoparks. First of all, Ministry of Climate and Environment mandated PGI to organize and prepare documentation, what was already said. But the Polish Committee for Geoparks consists of the representative of the from the science, from the some kind of tourist industry, and as well of the representatives from the geoparks in Poland, of these different geoparks that are already actively operating, UNESCO geoparks. So that means that this is not only organization managed fully by PGI, that is representative of the Society of the Earth Sciences. So it's very important. So, for example, we'll involve to our committee, to this Polish committee, representatives from the science, from academia, that work in the field of the geology, geomorphology, geography. And this is very important, I guess. That is not managed only by PGI. We are only supporting, considering the funding and the secretariat. Secretariat will consist of 6 persons from PGI, from different places, that's supposed to support the local activity in the field of the national geoparks. So.
Thank
Okay,
you. Thank you.
maybe if I can comment it a bit, I think that the position of a Polish council for geoparks is in a bit different position than, for example, the councils in Bohemia or in Slovakia, because here in our countries, geologists really are not able to propose or run any geopark. It really, in our country, I think really most of our geoparks are growing from the bottom with some very, very small support of these state organizations. And in Poland, I really appreciate very much the situation where you have very good support from PGI, from funding from your state. And I saw it through decades that your position there is really far stronger than in at least our 2 countries. So you can afford maybe to propose such an idea. But in Bohemia or Slovakia, this is something really growing from local communities, and the sources of funding are pouring in different directions. So it's a slightly different situation, but of course it's very good that you have these intentions and that you can multiply a bit the family of even national geoparks at your country.
Anyway, it's very interesting what Veronica is telling, because you see that there can be different angles of view on the situation. Because as I know from the past meetings we have, for example, in Czech Republic, in various projects and so, Polish always saw the situation in Czech Republic and Slovakia better, that we have so strong national movement behind the council, and so okay, we have it really bottom up, because they need to grow from the municipalities. The initiative must be really from the local actors, and they are supported by, let's say, certification system and some support by council and by Ministry of Environment. And the Polish side was always like a little bit afraid from the situation that they don't have this kind of national level, but strong geological institute behind. So we can see it from different angles, which is better, which is more, let's say, strong situation of geopark development. We always discussed how much it should be really bottom up, how much it will be made by, let's say, some state institution and mainly from some protected areas. We had the problems then with identification of the local people and local actors. We discussed also yesterday, and now we should return to this, how much, what's the problem actually, and now we are moving to some the points of evaluations, how much it should be previous, let's say, institution or previous organization, which should be also used as a geopark. These are many questions. I give you example. If you have national park which obtain the label of geopark, you have a lot of advantages with the money from the state, the staff, of course, the budget, clear vision, etc. But you fight for visibility for the geopark. In some cases, like Spain, especially Andalusia, we had quite a real problem to place really geopark next to the national park or nature park or something like it. And they really fight 10 years or more just about the title of geopark, having done in the interpretation panels and the gates of the geopark, etc. So these are a very important question, which are also related to the support of the state, because if you want really implement bottom-up principle, and to do it really just from the local authorities and local NGOs and various initiatives like this, then of course you need to have very good system of support. I mean various grants and subsidies and schemes, grant schemes, where Geopark can receive easily some money for their living and for their existence. So we have very different approaches in many states, and we should discuss now just our 4 countries. How can we help our geoparks to survive in better financial situation, to have easier, let's say, possibility to obtain some money for their existence and development. So sorry that I move the problem.
This is the last point of today, to go to finances. I wouldn't maybe
so,
talk too much about that. Maybe we can move a bit to or mention something about that evaluation of geological potential which we use in Bohemia. In fact, I've been doing these evaluations for 2 geoparks. One of them was not too convincing, but for me, at the moment, it is one of our better geoparks because the potential in geology and landscape, let's say, it's only one aspect, and the other and far more important aspect is how the team is able to interpret the even smaller phenomena connected with geology, which are available in the territory, and they even can use many more inspiration than only from their own geopark, just to really put geo scientific background to almost everything they are doing in the geopark. It's not that difficult, but for some people it is really difficult. So for me, that real geological potential is one aspect, and the other aspect is the strength of the interpreters, local interpreters who are organizing the activities. So maybe you have some comments for this as you maybe from Slovakia, if there is any maybe experience from your area, because there are geoparks which are really rich. It is that Novohrad, Nograd, which is in fact sediments and volcanics. We can see the combination sediments and volcanics in many geoparks. So generally it's not too exciting. Then we have those historical Banská Štiavnica regions and the Banská Bystrica regions. So maybe you can comment it.
Malé Karpaty region.
Malé Karpaty.
We face the same situation as the Czech geoparks, and as I tried to outline is yesterday, we have the commission of the National Network of Geoparks, and the geoparks are evaluated each 4 or 5 years. And now this last evaluation of these 3 geopark, Novohrad, Banská Bystrická, Banská Štiavnica, run together with Czech evaluators. It's one evaluator was from Slovakia and the second one from Czech. That's why we make a common commission for evaluation and revaluation of our geoparks. And I think it worked very well. We have we are very thankful for Czech part, because the Czech part is more experienced in this evaluation and this UNESCO operations, and it was a bit profit for our geoparks. And yesterday I showed some pluses and minuses of the geopark, and it issued from this evaluation of these common commissions. And I think it will work also in future, and we got more experiences in this recommendation for these geoparks. As I discussed it a little bit with Czech and Polish friends, and also from Hungary friends, we have a big reserves in personalities of these geoparks. As my English is not good, and the English of many of the geopark workers is the same or even worse, and we have difficulties to get foreign grants and for ask for financial support or cooperation from UNESCO, for example. And we rely very much on these local municipalities, and it works from time to time, and when the elections, when the election of to the self-governments is every 5 years, I think, and when the new government have no interest for geoparks, then the geoparks got no money. And that's very fruitful for us, this meeting, that we can get many knowledge how to organize to this evaluation of our geoparks, and how to establish it in future. Thank you very much.
Okay, Martin, thank you. I think that why we are here is to open this maybe small cooperation between Czech and Slovak geoparks, of course, also to other 2 countries, but not only to these V4 countries, but also maybe to far more players in Europe at least, because it's of course interesting for us, but maybe there would be some aspects that might be also now attractive for other geoparks to contact us and maybe create some way of cooperation. But
Veronica, thank you. In the moment, I would be really limited on the V4 countries now. So you've been one of the evaluators, and as I understood from Slovak side, it was really big satisfaction with this, and the other evaluators from Czech side. And we expect also the future evaluation of Slovak evaluator in our geopark. It's on the way already. So we will have the first, let's say, experiences with this. And now my question is, are you willing from Polish side and Hungarian to share, to match to merge evaluation teams, evaluators teams, to try, for example, as a pilot in one of our geopark and your geopark to use the same system. There will be one difference, of course, in language, that we will do it in English.
Like a
With
test
Polish,
area.
with Polish, maybe a little bit we can use Polish, Czech. Sometimes it could be easier. But anyway, it's not such a complicated situation that we will do it English, because in UNESCO Global Geopark we do it normally like this. So the question now is if you want to try or not.
There is
But-
time to think about. You don't have to say now.
Of course,
but
it's a
yes,
necessary
it's
answer
just a proposal.
immediately. But if you want to express just your interest now, or just your thinking, what you think about it, you can do it. If not, we can continue and we can return on the next meeting to this topic. But surely this will be the possibility for us, because for all of us, it means that we will have more evaluators, which is always interesting because we are missing good experts and evaluators. And this is not just about quantity, but also about quality, because you have different view from different countries. And it, of course, means enrichment for our evaluators team. So if you want to express yourself, please.
Just my personal opinion is thank you. Just my personal opinion is that it's an excellent idea, and since so much around is about sharing experience, learning good practices from other people's experience, I think we can only benefit from such a decision to broaden the pool of evaluators. And the only tricky thing, I think, is that the, the, the person from the external evaluator may not be familiar with certain subtleties of functioning of in specific countries. So probably that external evaluator should be more towards, I don't know, the scientific potential or this the general interpretation level, networking and so on, and less so specific solutions, how they applied for finances, how they organize work at the municipalities level, because they may differ quite substantially. And then the opinion from abroad, without really realizing the local context, could be biased and could be in a way unhelpful.
Thank you. Actually, we can do it in the same system like with Slovak. So it means one will be Czech always, and the second one will be Polish or Hungarian. And anyway, in the UNESCO Global Geopark, if I go to Indonesia or Denmark, I am in the same situation. I have to, of course, read all the documentation and try to understand from website and everything. And in our Central Europe, we are in much better situation because it's different. If I go to Poland or I go to Indonesia, then I know totally nothing. So I think it's much easy actually if you compare to situation in the UNESCO Global Geoparks evaluations or evaluations, and you have next to you the Czech person, and of course we can prepare ahead 1 month or 2 months ahead. We can communicate. So it's up to you. So thank you for your expression.
Okay, so just to proceed a bit to. Sorry, Vitol.
Okay, I'm just thinking aloud because, in my opinion, we first of all we have to establish national committees, and then because it is official and the legislation and etc., the official papers, official documents. So maybe after, when in each country we will have a national committee, we can sign an agreement, and we can make a rules official at the paper how to do it. What is the financing of evaluators when they come to the other country? How it could should how we do it, etc., etc. You know what I mean. So it is only I'm thinking aloud. I can say my first impression about that. Thank you.
Uh, from the Hungarian side, really quick question, not question, expression is that from our geopark, we thank you for the offer. As we are only from here from the geoparks, not from the Hungarian National Geopark Commission. On behalf of them, we cannot say we want to do this or not, but I can say that we will forward the invitation. And I can also say that from our side we would be, but we don't want to impose on the National Commission first. But the practical side, English won't be a problem for us. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that with time it will be better and better with young people speaking English. Okay, so just let me now proceed to some very practical thing, which was in fact put together by our colleague Katka Červenkova. And
Just to finish
okay.
this immediately, just to finish this point, it is clear from Polish side. Thank you for your interest. And after officialization of your process, we can continue in this to make it real. And of course, the same pay for Hungary, because it's very premature, of course, because you just have intention to do the national level, but it is not still alive. But you know what we want, what's the intention, and in the moment it would be possible, we can discuss further. So thank you, and I think it would be very interesting and enriching mutually. So we will continue.
Okay, so now we are coming to revalidation materials, and this is what was updated, in fact, last year by Katerina. She updated our guidance for the revalidation process, and especially for the simple table which was created by her. And the table says, in those 8 categories which are used for evaluation, you can read it. I think maybe. Yeah, maybe Martina can go to those 8 points. But what I just want to finish now, that we have it's simple for forms. You probably have seen them, most of you, some forms of forms. And now we have a very good tool which was now updated, and this is kind of guidance how to grant these points. And this is I think important. This is about 12 pages of the Czech text. We are not going to go to details, but this text exactly says how many points can be granted if these conditions are fulfilled or are not fulfilled. And this is really good because it gives a good tool for everybody to keep some standards. And this is really good for Czech geoparks, and I believe that it could be very useful also for others, just to have some idea about the system. You don't have to, of course, copy or overtake it, but you can just know that we have this system, and it really helps us during the revalidation very much. And I think there is no time to go to details, but this is just for you information that we have such a system where the geopark itself writes yearly reports. Then we can see all these yearly reports. It is very boring topic, but then they have some material they can show. And then they have simple table, which is just 2 pages with those 8 categories. They evaluate themselves. And then 2 evaluators come and give their points according to methodics made by, now updated by Katka. And it makes the whole process quite fast. It is very efficient.
Just to make clear a little bit what Veronica is explaining, the same system we have at UNESCO, totally. But what we try to change, because people in our Czech experts were really upset with the system. Too long, too boring, difficult, time demanding, doubling too much things again. So what Kateřina made, she really simplified substantially and made it very clear what's real progress. We started with revalidation, and she made very clearly system, as Veronica tell, some levels A, B, C, D, and for each level it was clear what, which must be reached for each level. And I can tell you, I'm sure it's much better. Sorry for UNESCO Global Geoparks now. It's much more clear if you compare it with the UNESCO Global Geopark system. That's what I feel. But of course, I'm not like criticizing. I just telling that what we are trying. So we had pilot 2 years or something like it. And now we are in the evaluation system. We have also new formulas for evaluation. Of course, this is something now which is useful just for Slovak, because Hungary and Poland don't have it official now. But just let you know, what, if you are interested, how we have it. Very, very simply, because we don't have time to go to detail.
And of course, when we continue, when this table is filled with some short text comments, it is provided to the council for discussion and decision, and the council decides if there is a green, yellow, or red card for the geopark. But so the system now gets quite really efficient and transparent, which is good.
I'm just want to correct myself. The concept of the national geoparks in Hungary was accepted by the minister, so it's a document ready, but it's now only in Hungarian. So we would we should translate it and to give the main points for you for the during the next meeting if you would like it. So it's a ready and approved concept for national geoparks.
Thank you for clarification. Sounds good. So you are on the way. So welcome in the family of national geoparks. So that's very good news, because now we have all the national level of the geoparks, and it's more sensible to discuss this. So when we move it to Polish presidency, which will be very soon, I'm sure that there will be the meeting as well. Maybe Polish decided to have also more meetings, not only one in May. That's just proposal for us to have more, let's say, meetings on the work level, not so official, but so Polish.
Yes, thank you. It is the good moment, I guess, that we can announce that we would like to organize, of course, because of our presidency in EC next year. So we would like to host you and welcome you to visit Poland, and probably maybe the best moment would be June. June, probably. Is it okay? In Poland, we would like to organize in the UNESCO Geopark in Holy Cross Mountains in Chęciny. 2 days plus 1 day for field trips. And so you are very welcome for this event.
Very good news. Thank
and
you.
we hope that we will have already all regulations settled, and that we'll have the Polish committee for geoparks, and we need probably more information considering how to work, how to help the national parks, because this is one side from the point view from the capital, and another view from the local society. and especially this small society and municipality that in many cases we had that it's not easy to make them make cooperation between them and to join efforts to organize the national park. This is the probably the big problem. And I showed yesterday this almost 20 boxes all over the Poland that at the stage of completely different stage of the organizing some kind of geosite, geoheritage. So the biggest problem is to make agreement between a local municipality to put effort for common work. So the one point is the regulations and the climate from the capital, from the politics, from the ministry of environment that now in Poland is very good moment, I guess, because most of the people in the ministry of the we can say with the green background. So, and this is the reason that we would like to accelerate the process of the organizing and settle the Polish committee for geoparks, because this process is took over 10 years, I guess. That was not easy to organize. And this moment, I think that that is the best one to move ahead in this activity. So.
Thank you so much for this official announcement of your meeting. Everybody is looking forward to Svatokrzyske Geopark. And what we are proposing from our experience is to have before more work, let's say meetings, not so official, but we can have online some meetings to prepare this, because the official one is just like final one. So, or we can, of course, go to Svatokrzyske Geopark before a small delegation, and we can have meeting and to prepare something. So keep in contact, of course. This is very important. And now I realize also something about Germany, because we have cross-border geopark, and luckily German has also national level. So in this way, we don't have, I think, any problems, because each country involved has the national level. This is a very good situation, I think. So, thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, I would like to comment or say some words about the situation in Germany. We have established a system with national geoparks since more than 15 years, I think. And we have a difference between national titled geoparks and UNESCO Global Geoparks, because UNESCO Global Geoparks are not anymore part of the revalidation of a national title. That's very important for us, because we have enough work as UNESCO Global Geopark to prepare the revalidation of it in an international level, and not enough time to do that a second time for the national level, and it's both separated, and it's very useful for us, very helpful for us. And on the international level, we have a commission, which or the member of the commission, National Geopark Commission, are members from national institutes on a lower level. And a second national commission is only responsible for the UNESCO Global Geoparks. And the members are from universities, from different science, from archaeology, pedologists, and so on. And this UNESCO National Commission is very strong connected with the National Forum of the German UNESCO Global Geoparks. The chairperson of the National Fora is also guest in the sessions of the UNESCO National UNESCO Commission, and it's very important because we have a good exchange and we can report directly what are our ideas, what are our projects on a national level. And the commission can give us advice, and it's a quite good basis to work together, I think. And I think it could be a good example also how to establish the cooperation between different levels in other countries.
Thank you, Nancy. This is very important to the told. Now it's a situation, I think it improves a lot, because I remember from the past that there was quite a big tension between UNESCO Global Geoparks level and national level. Quite really big. So now it's somehow separated, and I think it works. But that's I'm telling, in each country different little bit. For us could be in the future also kind of challenge to cooperate on the level of evaluators with the national geoparks in German in the same way with evaluators, but I am not opening it now. I think for the future we can move forward. But now we started with Slovak as a pilot, and slowly we can continue after officialization with the Polish and the Hungarian, and we will see the experiences. So this is for the moment how it is the situation. I'm just telling that for you, I mean, Germany, it is not so like totally different that you don't have any national level. This is good situation. Just statement.
Okay, perhaps yeah, it would be for us also a good topic to maybe talk more with Mr. Peterek and people like still supporting our only trans-border geopark in Bavaria and Czech border, because even in the one geopark which is now not existing as a national one, the potential there is still very good. There are groups who are still doing their activities, just there is no management which would cover all these activities. So I know that, of course, Mr. Peterek has been systematically supporting also the Czech part, which was really very big input to development of the two areas. But at least one area is still like doing very well and still have very good ideas and good projects, and they are, I think, still ambitious to really be a good partner to also to German part. So this is important to very much for us. So with time, yeah, we will see how we can spread maybe some cooperation also a bit more further to the west. Okay, so this is just to summarize, you know, what was done, and I think that if there was interest in such a methodology, we will do our best to translate those methodical 12 pages from Katka, maybe to show you, you know, if and maybe you can get inspired at least by that system. So it is our
Thank you,
task.
Veronica. I think this is excellent idea actually, because as Martina and other Slovak colleagues know, we made or they organized Slovak colleagues excellent workshop in Žilina in Slovakia, and Kateřina from Czech Council, she made all this reconstruction of the system. She presented and explained and trained the Slovak people in this, and they were really satisfied. So we can repeat it in Poland to make another workshop with Kateřina, small training, explanation. It is always possible. And I think that again, for Slovak people to have another training would be very, very interesting. So let's keep it in our heads, and we can prepare a kind of workshop on this topic with Kateřina.
Okay, thank you. So I think that now we can, in fact, finish that part dedicated to certification, because we mentioned the most important moments. Maybe I just want to, before we speak about some of these moments later today, we can just mention what was quite often some pitfalls of the certifications. This is the how to Ty jsi někam utekla? Jo, já jsem to chtěla teď. So this is just, how to really preserve geological heritage sites. Sometimes what we see quite often in Czech geolocalities which are not part of geoparks, that they are protected so well that they are not visible already because they are covered by so dense thorny bushes that nobody can access them. So this is one extreme, and another extreme, of course, is the situation where the rocks are completely decomposed by collectors and other people who are taking Cretaceous shells or whatever of it, and the outcrop is now almost invisible also. So we have to find some good way how to prevent both extremes. And it is sometimes very difficult when we are dealing with official legal procedures. So each of you know that in your countries it could be quite difficult, and maybe you can comment it also from your side. Another pitfall is just conflicts of interest. You all know what it means. There are of different levels. Then what we are going to maybe talk about later, it's also how to deal with the material on offer or on sale. Another problem is the aging of active members. During our certification, we were, repeatedly talking just to one person who is already not able to satisfy maybe younger visitors. So don't get old, too old, okay? Then of course there is very fast changes of fashions, which media to use, and you see that some ideas seem to be really very nice, bright and easy working, but after 4 years they completely transform to something else. And this is too fast for geopark practices usually. So it is also difficult to which methods really apply to be sustainable. And then, of course, we will see what will be the real pressure of AI and what will be the effect on geoparks, but it's maybe a future. So just to mention a few of these moments which I think were quite difficult. There are some good practices, but I am not going to these now because we will discuss with John and others maybe also later what you really enjoyed. It could be the final part, what was really the best practice of each of your geopark. It would be nice to listen these good examples. And now we have some discussion which was proposed by Katka. How you would see the improvement of the revalidation process, which real first steps you need for it, how we can support each other, and how can we support that V4 cooperation. So these are maybe moments you can think about it, you can react immediately or later, but this is some open field that we can maybe with time cover with some activity. Okay, thank you for your interest for now.
Thank you, Veronica. I think this is really important, not only for our national level, but again, we can change, of course, also UNESCO level. This is not anything fixed. If we proposed very good recommendation, I think for the future, not immediately, but it could be changed. So, I mean, if we have a good experience from changing something on the national level and it is working, we can recommend it for UNESCO global level to be changed, because we know that this is not perfect. What's happening on the UNESCO global level revalidation. Everybody is trying the best. This is not real pure critic, because we are all here evaluators and we are experiencing this, but it's easy to criticize. But everybody who is behind preparation of this formulary is doing extreme work. So it's just helping to improve what we are doing. I have also some points, of course, from the international level, because I'm in the council, and it means in the final point, dealing with the results of evaluation. And we see some critical points. But maybe we can react on Veronica asked first if you have any reflections, bad or good, one. You can express it now, please.
It's a question, not immediate reaction to any of these, but something that generated my interest. I'm referring to your phase zero, let's say, assessing the potential of an area to become a national geopark at some time in the future. And you mentioned that you do the assessment of this geoheritage and also tourism. And I'm wondering about the criteria for that very initial assessment, because coming from a country like Poland, where 90% of the area is flat or almost flat and covered by loose sediments, to me, almost the whole country of the Czech Republic could be a geopark because it has so fantastic geoheritage of all possible kinds. And then you still, I understand, have some criteria or whatever to say to particular area, no, your geological heritage is not good enough or not in comparison with something else. And on the other hand, we also know that from the experience that almost any kind of a topic can be made very exciting for visitors if properly presented. So same with actually with the potential for tourism. There are areas which for a long time were like didn't exist on the mental maps of people where we can go, and then due to various initiatives of the local people, due to just changing interests, because some years ago no one was thinking about industrial heritage as something of interest, where there were just dirty plants, and now people like to visit. So that changes over time as well. So it's I think it's quite difficult to be very clear at certain moment. No, you do not have a potential. So I'm just wondering how you approach that phase. Who advises on what criteria?
You know, it's a discussion within the council, and we are considering the size of the geopark and the number of maybe and variability of geological elements in the area. And of course, as you said, Bohemian territory is really very rich, and it's difficult to say to somebody, no, your territory is not interesting. In fact, we didn't do that, but we had some recommendations according to size, the territory which was involved in the geopark. Some were too small, some were too big, because to manage two big geoparks is really difficult, and we'll see how Barandian will be able to manage, the size it acquired. So this is principally the thing that we didn't delete anybody or refused anybody any application, because as I said, for me it is far more interesting how good interpreter you are, then what's the potential? Because usually you can work with almost everything. Even the one of our geoparks, Ralsko, which is also volcanics and Cretaceous, they seem to be in very difficult situation. Their advantage was that they in fact stepped instead of army. It was big army space, so they have complete freedom in spreading their different activities, even those who were completely impossible in other geoparks. And they have extremely efficient management. And they were able to run different international cooperations, and they have very nice small places, but they have also good cooperation with excellent designers and artists. And it makes this geopark very special. Even with quite low geological potential, they were able to work with it very well. Okay, so Geopark of the shale country in our northern Moravia, they have only shales. But what they inherited from the time where the shale was mined underground, for roofs for the roof tiles. That heritage is incredible, but it was there for decades, left without any idea. But now the team came, and they gave it a completely new life, a new style, and it's our best, even not too small now, because they enlarged a bit, but it was really impressive what they were able to do just with a shale. And I appreciate this one very much, as Martina too. So you can work for the future, I can imagine that you have some underground, even city geopark, working with decoration stones in a very specific way to remind the geological environment of these stones in these towns. You can work with underground, some even gray brownfields. You can use brownfields and their environment and connect it to some geological aspects, like sources of these raw minerals or whatever. So you can always come, from some interesting and new side to the problem. So I think even these things might be interesting in the future. We don't know.
Okay, so Veronica, just to comment it, because you are totally right. Of course, in Czech Republic, as Veronica told, if we want somehow to assess the potential, it might look quite crazy, of course, because Czech geodiversity is so amazing. So each step of our country could be geopark. There's no case which is zero potential. But what we are speaking about, if the determination of boundary, for example, is right, you can do quite silly boundary. It's not that there's no geological potential. Always you will find some, but not sensible one. And I found just some example. This is from Guy Martini presentation for evaluators. Some of us remember this probably, but this is quite good example. When you have territory of aspiring geopark and you have quite big big urban, let's say, area in it with high level of population density, you have 0 geosites in it and a lot of people. And then you have part of the proposed geopark, rural one, without nearly any population, and you have full geosites. Why it is problematic? We were discussing a lot in the council, this kind of case. Some members, they were a little bit like surprised that this is real problem. But this is really big area. And if you have 3 million of inhabitants, you have staff of 10 people, and you won't really make to touch the people and to change something and to give them some message, it's nearly impossible. It's mission impossible really to do it. This is a little bit maybe why we are telling the geoparks are created in rural areas. I can tell you that there was quite heavy discussion, mainly because of Korean people, because Korea is one of the countries with very high population level, a lot of urbanized parts of the geopark. And they wanted created the working group for urban geoparks or something like it. No, not megacity, metropolitan geoparks. And it was a big opposition. It was told that we are rural areas, geoparks. And this discussion, it's not so marginal as could be perceived by many. This is very substantial, essential question, because in nowadays world, we have many countries with big urbanization, a lot of population, mainly in Asia, but also Barandian Geopark is in the capital, partially, and somebody can tell, no, we are rural areas. It's not possible. Something like this.
Pilsen and Prague. Pilsen and Prague.
Yeah, but it was especially about metropolitan areas, which is Prague as well, let's say. So the question is that if you want to do really good interpretation, you need to have balance the staff. Some of you who are evaluators, you know from the training that now exists something like guidelines and quotas, let's say. It's not strict quota, it's just recommendation you should have in your head that there is some warning. I don't remember it now from by heart, but there is per square kilometers, 100 kilometers, how many staff you need? 2 persons on 100 square kilometers or something like it. Just to keep the relation, if it's manageable or not, the same for population, how many population per one person in staff, etc. These are questions now we were not discussing years ago. There's something new. Because of this question of metropolitan geoparks and also because of this kind of aspirations, the council rejected. And I remember the discussion was half an hour about it. And we really reject finally because it was totally unbalanced. And we recommended, and it wasn't the only one. The other was in Iran, and we discussed it because we need to find right balance to have area where you have distribution of geosites geographically balanced, and where you have also quite manageable relation of staff, member of the staff, to population and to the area. Of course, that much more important is the population size than the size of the area, because we have many very large areas with low population, and in this case, it is still manageable with quite a relatively small size of the staff. But if you have a relatively small area with the high population, you can't do it with 2 persons. It's not possible. So this is something we now are discussing, and we should somehow have it in our head when it is determined, I mean the boundary. And of course, this is not the only question. You know very good that discussion is now about perception of the proposed area by local people. What was done in the past was that geologists created the boundaries according the geological phenomena in the territory, which is logical. But then was changed, this principle, because from experience, we understood that for the local population, they didn't understood where geopark is. They had problem to identify themselves because they didn't feel what kind of area it is. So it was changed that we should work with the administrative boundaries. And sorry for that, because people know these boundaries very well, and they should understand. Or you have some touristic area, or some ethnographic area, or other types of pre-existent area before geopark that you will use. But mostly nowadays we are working with administrative area, municipalities, regions, etc., because everybody knows, and it is also easier from the point of management, payment, budget. Of course, the work with municipalities now is understood as a base of the work of the geopark. So These are questions in the council which are most frequent, and the rejection of Geopark is very frequently because of a lack understanding of the determination of the boundaries. They failed many times to have good determination or well done determination of the boundaries. Sometimes we had discussion about names, but we were speaking yesterday about it, that you have a geological name and the local population can't follow it. What does it mean? So everything is done to have area which is really understandable for everybody, for each cleaning lady in the territory, that I understood in which geopark I am and I understand the name. Yeah, sure. So
Yeah,
your comments.
maybe there are some comments, just to interrupt the monologue. Perhaps you have some comments to this. For me, what is crucial in geoparks, it's a kind of a acceptance or like identification of local people with the geopark. It's a crucial thing, and it's very difficult when geopark comes from the top. Okay. And I think, could you maybe John, tell us how people in some your familiar areas are identified with geopark? It would be for us quite interesting, yeah, because we understand that sometimes these are only geologists who are kicking it off. But we really have to find some spiritual places where local people live, how they understand it. Maybe sometimes even these local people, when they travel a bit far, they would realize that their phenomenon is really unique. And just after that, they started to appreciate it and take care for it. So this is the problem with local people who are still sitting on their at one place and don't see anything else. And then, of course, they accept their very special features like normal. If you don't travel, you wouldn't understand that. So it's difficult sometimes. So just maybe some comments to what Martina has said, or
I don't live in a geopark. Unfortunately, long story, we were going to start a geopark in 2000. I went to the very, very first meeting and everyone said, wow, can we have Cornwall as a geopark? Because we're doing all the things that Guy and Nikos and everyone else wanted us to do, and Wolfgang. Then our conservation agency said, no, they do not approve of the fact that you cannot sell material from a geopark. I know that's rather hard concept. Anyway, so I write stuff for people in Cornwall, and it's always for local people as well as for visitors. So this is a little 24-page booklet I wrote, commissioned, funded by blah, blah, blah. It is totally full of pretty pictures. We had great fun making this. Every single page has pretty pictures. And it doesn't start with geology. I was told by one of the funders, oh, you should say a geology guide to Bodmin Moor. Well, if you say a geology guide to Bodmin Moor, it's a granite upland, then a lot of people won't pick it up. But if you say Bodmin Moor, 400 million years in the making, they pick it up and it's sold out. It didn't sell out because it was free. And the whole point of having it free was so we had local people, everybody else. So we reprinted, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, everything is very colorful, but we don't start with geology. We start gently with geology by saying, well, look at the stones in the house. Where did they come from? And that sort of creeping it in, I think. So everything I do is full of stuff for the local people first.
okay, thank you. This is also the moment which is important in that, like, let's say, city geology, because people can identify with the rock they are having in their hand when they reconstruct their house. And this is a good moment where to start. Yeah. Where did you get this wonderful limestone? Where did you get that marble or the granite? And they don't know, of course. And then we can work with them.
Thank you. Maybe I can give some example from Poland because it was the policy to, I mentioned yesterday about the activity of Polish Geological Institute, and we make for several years documentation of the geosites. What was the first step? And then it was the policy of our ministry just to give this information about the geosites to local societies. So the first step was to make in the field the geological path with very well prepared information, mostly on the plates that were localized in the field. So it was the first step just to let the local population about the geology. So, and this, so as a survey, we have the geosite database and we manage this database. Of course, this is the open access to this database. So the local authorities can get information about the geosites in their own areas. So, and beside of that, we organizing as a surveys events among the primary schools that we can involve people from the school and the students to get more information in different type of activities.
Okay, perhaps.
Thank you very much. This is something extremely important to make kind of sensitivity, sensibilize, if you want, local communities, local people before you start with kind of process of evaluation in the area, to let them understand not only that there will be geopark, but let them understand the responsibility for geological phenomena they have, and to understand the essence of this geological phenomena, to identify themselves again. It helps extremely to have successful evaluation in the area. But on the other hand, I want to return to the numbers. It could look, I think that many of us felt some, not opposition, but what they are telling about numbers, that we should have per kilometer so many members of the staff, or for 100 population or 100,000 population, we should have how many members. These are just numbers and blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, this is not the dictator of the numbers. It's just warning. Really, these are just numbers that should warn you if you are prepared, Geopark. Why? Because we have experiences in the council during revalidations of existing geoparks that we have big areas with big population and really just few people in the staff. They are overworked. They are totally damaged by mission impossible to manage geopark, which is really big and have a big population. They do the best. They are nearly dead, and still it's a problem. So it's kind of prevention to think, as I showed, maybe you noticed from the slides, that they made the solutions when the area was with the, I can return it, with the heavy populated part. So they skipped the heavy populated part. They proposed just rural areas with the balance, geographical balance of geosites, to have smaller geopark, which is more manageable. And people from urban areas next to the geopark can visit it. This is no problem. They can visit. But why to pretend that we have big area with big population in the geopark, which is not reached by geopark, in fact. So you can have smaller geopark with quite enough geosites, because if you count the big areas, you have a very small, finally, you have very small number of geosites for very large geopark, which is nearly unacceptable that you have, for example, area like this, and in very small part you have geosites. And they ask, sorry, they ask why it is that you have hundreds kilometers or maybe thousands sometimes kilometers without any geosites and a lot of population, and then you have small part with all the geosites and very small population. So it's lying. It's lying. So you make a drill, small geopark with a small number of the people and quite a lot geosites. You can manage, and the people from surrounding areas with high population, they can visit. They can visit geoparks. They have geoparks next to them. They can enjoy. No problem. No pretension. No lying. So that's just inspirations. So they don't perceive these numbers you have. So 1,000 square kilometers. That's a number which is quite usual for geopark. I think even that it is average size of the geopark, 1,000 square kilometers. So we can understand what it is. So you should have 5 persons at least in the staff for such a size of geopark, 1,000 square kilometers. 5 persons. And again, 1,000 square kilometers, you should have 20 geosite at least in your geopark. It is okay, not? It is nothing so incredible. We can manage. But if you have substantially different, and you have, for example, for 1,000 square kilometers, one person, it's not manageable. Forgot it. Yeah. And the same if you have 1,000 square kilometer and you have, I don't know, 5 geosites, it's not enough. You should work more and to find in your territory more. Yeah. So just explanation, because in the future, in UNESCO Global Geopark, we should deal with these numbers probably because it's something new, and some people can perceive it like some bureaucracy or some dictator even. So just to explain that this is not like this, just to think that you should have some balance. That's all. So probably we can close.
I have maybe one personal comment to how I understand geoparks. It's only maybe 5 sentences. For me, geoparks are kind of return to normal world before globalization. I was very much inspired by Tepla Monastery, Premonstrate Monastery, when I visited several times already. It was founded in 11th century or so. And then recently, the complete construction material was mapped by a German professor for Potsdam. And the monastery was, of course, operating for centuries in a very sustainable way in some limited area. And they were really in economic way working with their materials. They have different rocks. They have, of course, different small quarries and a lot of other activities. But for me, that way of sustainable management of the area was something which would be very natural for any geopark. There is people, there is history, there is arts, there are stones and normal economic development. And for me, this is something very inspiring. And even our society is maybe sometimes looking for some spiritual new ways. And these monasteries can show us some example, connect, that geology, which was managed that way, and maybe connect these some spiritual way, even for Poland, flat Poland, that might be also some idea, how to combine their geological heritage with the sustainability and with some new evolution and new steps, new directions of the local local community. Yes, in fact, yes. So this is just how I see Geopark, that really efficient in a sustainable way, economists with local sources, resources, and also this goes to uh, also maybe new way how to use our geologic resources for local use, because now it's not possible. Now it's restricted by global rules and laws and everything, but we can't use it in fact already. It is all in hands of somebody, or just restricted even by protection of nature. And sometimes we should find some good compromise between all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Veronica. Anyway, I share totally, Veronica. I'm traveling, as you know, probably to Latin America quite frequently. Of course, I know Tepla Monastery, which is amazing. But anyway, my inspiration goes from Latin America. Very simply communities in shelters without electricity. I was like weeks with these indigenous people many times, always returning to Czech Republic, very healthy person, strong mentally and physically, and never ever before. Always after returning 1-2 weeks here in Czech Republic, just have energy, losing everything. I was just telling that sometimes we have simply too much comfort, too much electricity, too much information, but everybody knows. I think I'm not telling anything new. I'm just telling you that sometimes you see the people in Nicaragua on the border with Honduras in the Rio Coco Geopark in the very poor area with nothing, no infrastructure, doing very nice management of the local resources and having a very wise knowledge about nature, how to use it sustainable. Sometimes we need inspiration from people who are really connected to the nature. They have no shops, no electricity. They are totally depending on the natural cycles. They need to follow. They can't go simply to the shop any time of the year and any time of the day. They need to follow all the periods, natural periods, and to wait if something grows or not. So for me, it was extremely good inspiration. But I'm sorry, I'm stopped my dreaming and returning to ground, closing the workshop, which was quite heavy for the morning workshop, I understand. But just telling you as a council member that this is not to stress you by numbers. It is stressing us, frustrating us as a members of council, sitting behind table and having not papers in our hand, but the lives, of the local people, and deciding on rejection or deciding on yellow card or even a red card, which is always very frustrating. And we see that it's our mistake that in the beginning we didn't start something which wasn't real. Quite simply, if you see these areas which are visibly non-manageable. So of course, I think that your areas are not the cases like this, but maybe in the future, if you have new aspiration in your country, you can advise colleague to have it maybe less ambitious, but more real. So thank you for your attention. And of course, we can continue in next workshops, this quite heavy topic, but now we should have a little bit relax and enjoy coffee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as Martina said, it's time for coffee. I'll just ask one question. Is it possible to share your presentations with everybody? Yeah? So I will send them through some share line or something like that, or put them online. I will let you know. Thank you.
Okay, the coffee break is at an end, so I'll ask you to sit down, and I will have just one more intrusion with the lunches, and then we should be good to go. So everyone's seated. So I'll just ask Monica. She, I don't want to butcher your name, Monica. You you are supposed to have dinner as well, but I'm not sure if you are not leaving. You're leaving, so I'll just mark it. Thank you. And then I'll ask Mr. Balaj. Do I have Mr. Balaj here? Yeah, about lunch. Yeah, he didn't mark it, so I need when he's returned, just let him know that he needs to fill out. And one more thing, who wants the beef broth soup? Just hands up. I'll just do a quick count. The beef broth soup. One. No one. Okay, one more time. Who wants the beef broth soup? Hands up. One, two, three. Three. Only three. Nice. And the lentil soup. Lentil soup. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Lovely. Wait, who's eight? Eight? Okay. Eight. A to jest myszka 4. Thank you very much. I won't bother you anymore.
Bless you. Okay, so I would like to welcome our last participant, Mr. Arzendoli. He just arrived, so thank you for your participation as well. And now Mr. McAdam will have his workshop. And we will see. This one is working.
That one's working. Right. That's that. So at an enormous expense, we now have a, is it a rock or not? This is for the geoeducation later on. And thanks to various people, Pavla. You will all recognize this as a pyrite crystal because we couldn't find any ores, but not to worry. So that's that. And this has been washed, but it came out of the gutter outside, but it is washed. It's not been sterilized. Right. Okay. In methods in the interpretation of geological wealth. And there's probably, what's the time now, please? 25 to, right. I hope it won't take as long as it's supposed to have. So, thank you very much for all the fantastic production of bookmarks. Now, I gave out 30 pieces of paper, and we have 5 back. Oh, they're coming in now. We shamed them, so they bring them in. So, yeah. Let's bring this up front. I don't need to wear a hat as a furniture remover. Done that yesterday. I think bookmark, get my hand stuck in there. I think bookmarks are great because if they're exciting, like a nice picture, both sides, then people pick them up. And I've actually put different versions of a bookmark in a library where people tend to pick up bookmarks and seen which one they picked up. So that's quite interesting. So that's at the evaluation stage before you get to the, before you go into production. So these are just drafts. Okay, so here we are. What's a big boa? Piotr, what's that?
That's the name of very strange rock formation.
Right.
In China.
Okay.
They call it, they advertise it for tourists as a big snake or big boa or big tiger, depending on the translation.
Right. Okay, thanks. And on the back it says, if I get to read it, but I didn't, this natural rock column is 128 meters high, more than blah, 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 well-known building somewhere. It's made of granite, one of the most durable rocks, but may collapse one day, so take care.
read it? Thank you so much. Louis Armstrong. Um, if you read it, you see two very important words: Bakony and Balaton. Is that so? That's all.
That's in stage development. Here we've got trilobite, dinosaurs, planting, bureaucracy, biobat, why re-evaluation. Geoparks are very different from each other. Same evaluation, bedrock. This, I think, is rather political. That's our mistake. What is a geopark? I'm not sure which way up it is, or whatever. Anyway, yeah, so that's a drawback. So there we are. I'll put out some ones later, some that I did that you can take away if you like, help you play with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Anybody else got one ready to go? Every division plus. I think we need to work with 10 o'clock at night. No, you'll all be right. Okay, that's some fun. Seriously, that's some fun activity I've done in the workshop. The point we come back to is you want to pick up those figure, as you say. These ones are not figure. What is going on? Those guys are interesting because sometimes the backside of the one that is first visible to people. The nurse that you find research is a wonderful of the animal. Now, they won't know that. The penguins, and the really lovely penguins, really picked me up. And that was the wrong way out. You're attracting golden. You know, the one so here's you have maybe 4 specific and worming I really like. Well, I don't know if if you're writing something and it's ridiculous and it's getting more and more and more complicated. So what I really do is okay, so thanks. So Middlecaden should be one of the global geosites, which are not experts. It's recumbent chevron folds from both of the
Oh, my pressure. Okay, we had a project with Erasmus project. The leader was Geopark Madonnie from Sicily. There was also school from Bacone Balaton, and there was from Papuk Geopark. And what else? And were in this project, and there was an application that is named VRED Geoparks. There was also university in Calabria, and developer the IT company was from Portugal. They made an application that you can use the carton card glasses, yes, to your mobile phone, and you can see some places from each geopark, I think 5 places. Uh, but there was a problem that only you can download these applications from the website. It wasn't in the Google Store. So there was a problem because there was a problem with IT company. You know, sometimes it is, but it wasn't. Sometimes in the international programs, there are some problems, but it wasn't obligatory in the program that we have to put it in the Google shop. But for me, it would be better because more people could download this application. And I don't know, Barnabas, have you seen this application? Oh, no, on smartphone, not yet. So the school, because from back on Ibalatun, it was school. So they haven't sent you an link to download this application. So I think I can show, I have to check that did I have this, do I have this application on my smartphone, but we tried to make some application, but there was some problems. I believe maybe in the future it will be more people can access to this application. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There are polychromes of the Middle Ages, and the Google makes them more expressive. So it's yes, but in one place only. maybe in the future.
We also have VR with goggles, but we use it just for seminars or presentations because it's really hard and expensive to have it in the information center or somewhere one person would have to be and always, check if the person who is using the goggles is keeping safe and, using it correctly. So we have it, but just for presentations, not for information centers. And we transferred the content, which is Cambrium Seas, to the TV show, which is running in Smelter Barbara. You will see it tomorrow. So that's much more better for more people, like when you have hundreds of people coming.
So that's a problem, isn't it? It's very expensive on staff time because it's one person, one person. Some of you will have been at ProGeo conference in England last October. Well, at least Luba was, and I was helped by Mark Williams from, sorry, Piotr too, of course, from University of Tasmania. Hey, maybe the ProGeo conference sometime in the future we'll all fly to Tasmania as long as the Australian government pays the cost of the flights. And he made sure that I didn't fall off the stage. But it was really interesting actually looking at this very big rock face, but it's very expensive. And he was obviously doing research on it and stuff becoming. Anybody work with Magma, Geopark? Yeah. Did you use their technology? Because, I mean, they developed it some years ago, didn't they? Right. I mean, I think they were willing to share the technology, but yeah, don't know. I got sent the link. I haven't actually used it. Anyway, but one of the joys of VR is you can go to places which your bodily cannot go, or you shouldn't go. So basically caves which are very, very fragile or whatever for various reasons, and somebody just goes in and then they make some sort of virtual tour, etc. And also it's good if you're in a chair and you can't wander around in many places, you can actually get the same experience from a virtual field trip or whatever. So, yep. Beacons are in various, anyone use beacons in their visitor centers? These are little Wi-Fi things. So when you go up close, it detects you. They're watching you, and your phone starts reacting to the fact, and then it will give you information. So these are very, very short range Wi-Fi signals. And that means that people don't get roaming charges and they can go from one place to the other. And also it means that the visitor center is not full of noise because all these things are shouting. Sorry, and people can't hear what they want about what they're looking at, and they're getting all this other stuff coming in. So beacons are in various places. Nobody's using any of those. You'll find those in various museums and visitor centers. And then BYOD, bring your own device, and this saves the hardware costs because there's lots of fossil technology in visitor centers. You go to visitor centers and museums to look at the fossil technology or look at the fossil interpretation, and it's wonderful. I mean, anyone been to Drumheller, the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Alberta? Fabulous museum in the middle of dinosaur land, really worth going to. And they've got really good interpretation in my eyes. And you can see they've worked through different areas at different times, reinterpreting it, and it's yeah, it's good. There's nothing bad at all there, not like some places, but yeah, it, you know, you can actually see the evolution of interpretive ideas. So BYOD lowers hardware costs, but not everyone has a smartphone, and maybe it's too old. I mean, maybe the person might be too old, but some of us manage to cope with that. But the smartphone might be, you know, too old an edition. I had to change my smartphone recently because bleh, it really wasn't functioning in what we had in my area. I give people my mobile number and my landline number and have to explain to them, well, my mobile doesn't work inside my very solid house in Cornwall, and I don't like, you know, I have to stand in the rain outside or in the road, etc., etc. People who live in London don't kind of understand these ideas. You know, the technology has limits, and of course there aren't lots of people in the area, so it's not financially viable for the big phone companies to put in the infrastructure, all the masts. Okay, cartoons. Come on, let's have lots of more cartoons, please. Please, please, please. This is the book by Damir. Whoops, I need to get in front of this here because this is where the thing. This is the book by Damir Bakovic. And who's anyone seen this before? Yeah, good. And it's got all sorts of goodies. Happy little droplets. But there's lots of really hard science here. Simply explained. So it's not dumbed down, but it's made accessible for kids. The only thing that's a bit bizarre, it's all in capital letters. And I don't know why they did that. I mean, I have talked to Damir about it. You know, we don't use capital letters for stuff for kids in the UK. Anyway, it also talks about pollution. So it says if you put a load of shit and chemicals and waste and junk down caves near you, very good way of waste disposal, it means somebody downstream cannot drink their water. And Slovenia has problems with undrinkable water, which is really terrible because of the rubbish that's been dumped down things, and particularly farm chemicals. So that's that one. I like using cartoons, obviously. Geopark critters. Now, some of you have critters already, little mascots or whatever you want. I love Andy Andersite. People, do people know who Andy Andersite is? Yeah? Good. You all ought to know because that's Hutzeg in Romania, and they used it for education. So there are lots of Andys, they're cloned, and they all go around the world, and they get pictures of Andy in Indonesia and Iceland and all sorts of other places in South America. And they're using it for connecting kids in schools in all these different countries. Brilliant. So andesite, as in the igneous rock, and he's actually looking after a little dwarf dinosaur because if you know, Hutzeg is internationally important because it was an island in Tethys, and the dinosaurs got rather small. So they're equivalent to the T-Rex. You know, you could tap it on the head if you really wanted to. But yeah, yeah.
We had in the past a mascot, Agats Mineral, but the idea is dead now. I don't know why. You know, yes, mascot is also dead. Dead mascot. Yes, but we think about it. I don't know. Yes.
Experience is that it works mainly in Asia. They love it. Korean people, Chinese, and in Indonesia as well. But in Europe, of course, and it's quite famous traveler, but normally in our conservative part of Europe, people see it sometimes a little bit silly, or you know what I mean.
Childish. What's that one from? From where? Chile. Oh, right. Cultura. Okay, right. Yeah, oh, I see. Your personal mascot. Right. Yeah. I mean, when Marie-Louise Fry started using Willy basalt in Volcan Eiffel, you know, I kind of thought, it's a bit childish, but I'm converted, being converted by Andy, because Andy has these amazing adventures, and, you know, he goes enjoying himself on the beach. He goes up mountains, you know, a friend of mine in Italy, Ilaria Salvaggio, sort of goes on. That's in the Caesar Valgrande Geopark, all sorts of adventures. So yeah, and my Andy used to go and enjoy himself with Geoparker. Who knows Geoparker? Somebody knows Geoparker. Two of you know Geoparker. Geoparker comes from which geopark? Doesn't matter. It's a Spanish geopark. Anyway, Geoparker is a goat. It's a goat, and they have a really good visual illustrators. So Geoparker can go running around, visiting places, going for walks, etc. All sorts of other things, inviting people to come to trips. Also, Geoparker can work a computer and does designs. So Geoparker and Andesite quite often, I had both. They used to appear in different places together, and with, you know, so it it hit two audiences.
We have also the plush mammoth, a plushy mammoth, and developed it further to a comic figure. And sorry, we have a kids brochure twice a year, and the comic figure Susie the Teeth. It's a mammoth, and it has a friend Flint Firestone, which accompanies Susie, accompanies the children through the brochure, and we did it twice a year, no, once a year, because it's very complicated to prepare it in two languages, and we plan to make a comic too, but first plushy mammoth, then comic figure, and the last step will be a cartoon which explains the development of. And as I have seen in your brochure, a very similar painting from a mammoth in a Bodmin as we have. No. There was a brochure. Well, yeah, it was the first step to develop such a painting, and then comes the plushy mammoth, and then the comic figure. Really cute for children.
But it's great. You pick up the kids and get them interested in the heritage, and they will interest their parents as well, with luck. Yeah, sure. So somewhere, this is the, I'll put it on the table later. This is the three of them in English Riviera Geopark sitting on deck chairs on the beach discussing plate tectonics. So there's a prawn, a trilobite, and a little shrimp. And the science is correct. Anyway, right, let's get on. And yes, as Martina says, the Asian geoparks really love their sort of little logos, their little whatever it is, their critters, their mascots, what do you want to call them? Interactive trail. Well, this is maybe shouldn't be so novel, but I mean, you know, how many trails have you seen where one panel ends with a question and that's answered on the next question, next panel after people had had time to think? It doesn't seem very difficult to me. I've used it several times. I enjoyed making a bench. I didn't make it. I got a sculptor to make it, a bench of oak with a timeline on it for 350 million years to the present day. So we've got lower carboniferous, limestone, and then, of course, interestingly enough, the ice age with the mammoths are the same as today, aren't they, on that time scale? But to make sure that people realize that we had actually finished it, we cut a line right down through the middle of the bench. So, yeah, okay. And we have carvings on the side of the thing for kids to do rubbings from. So, you know, we've used that quite a lot. I first saw this in Everglades National Park, a brand new visitor center. Walked in, very impressive. This is 99 in the States. And then as I was walking out, I turned back and I saw that there was a bench all around that was about that high. Underneath the bench was a question. What's the biggest alligator found in the park? Follow me round. This is from the tail to the head. And, you know, it was 28 foot long or something. And this was purely for kids. You know, kids would have seen the stuff up above their parents might have been looking at, but this is for them particularly. And I thought that's brilliant. So I put these carvings on, got it put on the side of the bench. Little furry kittens. Nah, I don't think they're relevant here. I mean, internet is full of little furry kittens. So let's put them in the bin and use human cloning. And so we're getting serious now. And this is where Lubo has looked at panels. He invited the geoparks in Europe, UGC, to actually send a picture of a panel, and he's looked at the evaluation. So we're working on the cloning. At the moment, it's not too convincing, but yeah, come on, please believe it. Lubo, thank you.
Oh, thank you for introducing John. Now I'm gonna pretend I'm younger, not younger, another clone of John, as he wants. Okay, yeah, it works it. Okay, so once any of the innovative methods is not implemented or is not working, like as I realize in some of geoparks I've visited lately, that you have really nice new panel but no signal, so no QR code is working. You have to rely on interpretive or information panel, because a lot of geological heritage that is present all around the globe is really interesting to people, like shells from the Czech Geopark or just another fossil sites, whatever it is. People are fascinated to visit such sites because of attraction, because of it's something interesting or whatever it is. But then people just are fascinated. Wow, what a nice stony waterfall, for example. Like this. This is a logo of Nohrad Geopark. But then it comes to interpretation. Yeah. And why do we need to interpret like within a geopark? As it is stated from the European Geopark Network side, European Geopark has an active role in economic development of its territory, blah, 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 blah. Development of geotourism, yeah? And development of geotourism within Geopark means that it should be attractive for visitors and usable for educational purposes, Martina said yesterday. And it means, as Tom Hose said, that it should enable tourists to acquire knowledge and understanding of the geology and geomorphology side beyond just mere aesthetic appreciation. So people should have an option, an opportunity to learn something new. But how? For example, here we see an information panel from the Stone Waterfall in the Novoragnoga Geopark. I play a real nice game with all the tourists I guide to, or all the students I guide to the site. I pretend I'm a kid. They have to go to this panel. They read it. All of you can read it also. And then afterwards, they have to explain me how this columnar jointing evolved. No one ever passed because there is one missing information. That's not the point for today, okay? So this situation may be even worse, yeah? But what we did is that we tried to define some evaluation criteria on panels that are within geoparks. We then contacted European UNESCO geoparks. Last year it was 83 geoparks that we contacted. And we evaluated an individual information panel from each geopark that was provided by a geopark that replied. So we defined, let's say, a lot of questions that should be answered. 39 questions within 6 categories based on not our personal opinion, but on people like John McAdam or some other authors within these 6 categories. Yeah, I really do not want to waste your time. So within the first category, we have 11 questions. Then another set of questions within category providing education in creative and memorable ways, which is really important because once you provide information in boring way, it's like, okay, I'm never gonna return to this site. I'm never gonna tell anyone else to go there. Yeah. Then to provoke a reaction and arouse an interest, another set of questions. It's really easy way to assess because it's yes, no, partly. Okay, no hard way how to assess. And we can go on through all the categories, which finally is referred to sustainability protection. So these are the 11 geoparks that replied to our email. Yeah, we have back in Balaton Geopark also. And you can see some of the geopark panels that were provided and we assessed. Yeah, that's my favorite. And here are the results. Here is the first category, keeping it simple without losing scientific content. Yeah, all the green color is good. The reddish one is not that good. Okay, so this is the best category or category with the best results. But once we move on to the other categories, we see that there is really increasing amount of reddish color. Like for example, in fifth category, See, and the sixth category, which means that being simple and clear is quite strongly followed by information panel within these panels be used for assessment, but as at least as I counted it, for 3 or 4 times in these 2 days we are here, it had been mentioned that people should enjoy and be active within visit or during the visit of Geopark at any geosite. And then many of you have mentioned sustainability and protection of geoheritage and all the other heritage that is located in Geopark. But once it is missing on a information panel, the visitor will not get the information. One, he or she, whoever it is, visitor, do not get the information. He will not know why it is important. Then no sustainability and no protection will be gained. So these are the results we obtained. Of course, to be objective, we are from various countries. Like in every country, we have another level of geoscience education from the primary school to secondary school to university level. So, for example, in Germany, I don't know how many geoscience classes do you have in primary school, or what's the level of education. The same situation may be in Czech Republic, in Slovakia, or in Hungary, Poland. It may differ significantly. And then also the general public, people may be aware of geoscience at another level. Another thing is that every single evaluation is strongly subjective. Yeah, depending on the assessor or the group of assessor, you cannot avoid subjectivity. And also, we missed the visitors' input because many geoparks we are talking to do not work with visitors as we wish they will work, like asking them, what do you mean about this? What do you mean about that? Is there anything you would expect and you didn't get, or anything else? So this was just really quick information that there is such a, let's say, try to assess the effectiveness of presentation of geological heritage with an information panel in geoparks. To be honest, we assessed just one panel from each geopark. Geoparks were asked to send us the most representative panel of the geopark, but you know, having one panel, you cannot put all the information on one board. So maybe assessing the whole trail, for example, or something like that, may be more informative. Yeah. But once we will be able to put as much information, not that waste, but using 200 to 300 words within the categories that have been mentioned to the information panels within geoparks, then we can get the goals that are mentioned on the last slide I'm presenting. So that is all from the younger clone of John McAdam. I really thank you for your attention.
No, I think there might be, well, I would love to have a bit of film from my Indian.
There's this one.
Yes.
This one you want to put on?
मुझको से खजाना से मतलब कुछ नूर चुराया तारों से बिजली से तड़प को मार दो कुछ कैफ उड़ाया बहारों से फूलों से महक शाखों से लचक और मंडलों से जंगल की कुंवारी गलियों में दे डाला बिखरी हुई रंगीन किरणों आंखों से चुनकर लाता फितरत के परेशान नखों से एक अपना गीत बनाता फिर से फैमिली में बैठा एक बुत को तराशा करता अपने दिल की धड़कन को पत्थर के दिल में
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Thumbs up. Good. is not a geologist, which is Hyderabadi. He lives in that. He grew up there. The family, all the family, lots of family is still there. And she's made this film. It's a documentary with passion and fire and annoyance and fury that the rocks are just blown up. Hyderabad is one of the massively developed cities with buildings, and the more is too much a bay sometimes, so people get a lovely big house, and then they want a bigger garden, so they just put dynamite, granite tall, etc., etc. There's historical pictures going back to 1700s of what the area looked like. You know. And reference to what somebody was saying earlier, the commentary, most of it is a rap, intentionally. Okay? And that can come out on plate. But you know, I saw the film in the Asian Film Festival, UK Asian Film Festival in Friday night in London. Good crowd there. Lots and lots of QA at the end. Really good. And yeah, it has been shown at some other film festivals. If you know of any film festivals, if you invite us, you won't have to pay the fee. If you use the money, whatever, to actually encourage the kids and show the schools. They've shown it to medics in the hospital, they've shown it to lots and lots of schools, etc. And it's getting a lot of traction in Hyderabad. And people are saying, well, what can we do about it? And the kids, of course, will talk to their parents, who are the developers. So they don't want their city to sprawl. I mean, apparently, from the airport to the center of the city used to be blocks of granite talls. They're all gone. Okay, so please wrap the commentary on YouTube in the summer. If anyone knows any festivals maybe like this, that'd be great. And Guy Martini, who is a bit sort of, he lives in Japan, and then he thought way before Geopark. He used to send lovely Christmas cards to people, to his friends. And they weren't Christmas cards, they were sort of interactive things you did. Maybe explosion in the kitchen Christmas card. Anyway, you know. And we're hoping we'll use it. I'm just talking to Veronica earlier, a load of films together, really good films, talking about geology in different ways of communicating geoheritage and passion for this sort of stuff. Yes, there is the UNESCO Global Geoparks Film Festival, but I don't know. Have people been to this in the past and seen them? Yes? I don't know. And it would be nice to get this shown widely and shown to geography. You know, there are more ways to communicate geography than just a normal straight documentary. Yeah.
I just want to comment on this moment ago films.
For me, what is quite interesting to see how many YouTube documents who are taken by normal people are focused on stones and rocks and geological materials. And I find it, very surprising that this is a really favorite topic for people. Of course, I am focused on that audience here, so I am looking at it. But generally, people really like to do those short YouTube movies, and it's really popular. So maybe not only like big movies, but those short 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes things, now are very powerful and very efficient, and also now for younger generation, this is a really good tool. So maybe it's just inspiration, not only documentaries or these short emotional things, but also those YouTube stories are really now going. They are popular. So it is just what I wanted to mention, that this is a really good moment in the recent progress.
Do you know M's Gem? This is she makes Insta stuff, YouTube's, whatever. She's a geologist. She's done the conservation Pangea masters, which is I'm going to go to next and do some interpon at. And she's doing a PhD now, but she's a brilliant communicator, and she has. If you look at M's Emma Cieslak Jones. She's half Polish, Cieslak Jones, and M's Gem is what she calls herself, and she does all sorts of short little videos on all sorts of different stuff. And she got picked up by a communication company for the mining industry. So she's been all over the world interviewing people and talking to geologists and miners and people like that, and then making it for television and other sources. She's a very, very good communicator. So yeah, I meant to mention it on the, maybe I mentioned on the next thing. So that's probably me. Thank you very much for running that. What's next?
So thank you very much. And yes, it's lunchtime. So I would ask you to follow Lubai again. He will take you for lunch. And Clarka is coming with you as well. So you will be taken care of nicely. And at 2 o'clock, we will be starting with Mr. Savak having his presentation about popularization of geology.